Howdy, partner. This is Shopman coming at you with Option Titans, and you already know who I'm here with.
Yo, 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 this is Scheme Master.
What's up, guys? Kabari.
And today, we got a very important person in our midst. Y'all give it up for AB!
Oh, yo, what's up, guys? Be here. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. We're glad to have you on. So a little bit about this guy, man. He's been reading up. He's been doing the work. He's been putting in his due diligence. And I just want to say that the charting that he sends me is insane. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. So me, I'm a basic charter. I don't even know how the hell he got text on the chart in the first place. So I'm just support, resistance, trend line. He's doing supply, demand, wholesale, resale. I'm like, how the hell? Yeah, so you know.
His chart is like a Picasso.
Yeah, this guy AB, his charts is beautiful, man. So we had to bring him on one time.
I appreciate that. You know, bro, what I think it's absolutely beautiful, man, is just how everybody has their own style and kind of just there's no cookie cutter to trading, man. It literally is a journey, and everybody has their own palette. It's amazing to see how everybody has their own different styles. So
Absolutely.
glad I can contribute.
Yeah, man, let's get it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the news. Y'all already know Skim came through with the news, the handpicked news. And if you didn't know, this week's earnings are going to be stupid. Bezinga's Bulls and Bears of the week. We got Boeing earnings. We got Netflix and a lot more. So, Kabar, you want to get up into this bull monstrosity?
I mean, to kick it off on Tuesday, we got Pfizer, we got Caterpillar, we got 3M, and those are just the morning. On the PM side, you got after market closes, you got Microsoft, AMD. First couple of days, you got some big names coming out, so I guess watch out for those. Watch how those move, and then I guess however those move, you'll know how to play the rest of them for the rest of the week.
It's like get rich or die trying, just like 50 Cent.
Some of these, it says, okay, so I'll just read. The coronavirus vaccine in development by PFE and BNTX is poised for an emergency use authorization application. So I just want to first off start by saying that someone had passed away in Brazil from the vaccine from XXXX company, and I shorted that company, and they ended up rallying after a death happened. What kind of shit is that?
That's originally, I did see the news that came out about that, but then there was some more news that came out that it was not related to the actual vaccine.
And
that company is huge.
AstraZeneca.
So since when do we wait on another news update to pop out before we overreact?
But I mean, you have to understand, like J&J, they halted because there were some really bad side effects.
Mm-hmm.
AZN got halted before, and then they started working again. So all these companies are getting halted and starting again, halted and starting again. But the Pfizer and BNTX collaboration on the vaccine, not any bad news yet.
Okay, diving into the Bears, it says Netflix is driving into a dead, Monster says. So, I mean, Netflix has been up and down. It's been choppy. And that probably the reason why is probably because of the elections. A lot of people have been losing a lot of money or haven't been making as much money as they have been in the past 4 or 5 months. And in my experience, this is my first election that I'm trading through. And people just say, I'm going to tell you like they told me, stick in there, hang in there. It's a bumpy road right now, and hopefully it'll get better. It will get better after the elections.
My advice to you guys, cash is king right now. Cash is king.
Protect the capital.
I mean, or if you want to play, just buy long call, 2022. Hell, that's the only one. strategy I could tell you guys right now.
Yeah, man, because weeklies are getting ate up, bi-weeklies are getting ate up. I purchased a monthly. I was shorting Apple a couple days ago, and it went great. However, the premium price just changed from even it dropped $3 in one day, and I was on the top side of that, and I was loving the premium, and then it went up 50 cents, and my premium went away by half. What kind of shit? Yeah, so just be careful, guys.
Hey, so I just did a quick little recap on my charts. The past seven, I think 6 or 7 earnings days for Netflix ended up in a red day.
Mm.
Yeah, because their guidance always said we don't know what's going to happen next quarter.
That's a lot of earnings. That's 6 or 7. That's about what, almost 2 years worth of earnings.
Yes, they were actually minus. I mean, they're still minus, but I mean, ever since the COVID, people staying home. What I mean, a lot of people joined the Netflix, but my thing is, I mean, it doesn't matter if you beat the earning or not. If your company CEO said we don't know what's going to go happen next quarter, bro, you could beat earnings by 1,000%. You will still go down.
Sheesh. So where to put $1,000 right now? Stop buying stocks and start taking a serious look at options. And if you don't know how to trade options, you can refer to our numerous YouTube videos. One of the popular series we have now, What Are the Options Basics? It's just getting a lot of traffic right now, answering a lot of questions. Please let those likes rain down on us if you're enjoying the content. Will this stock shoot 357% again? And where was I when that happened? It said it's possible to receive returns like 11,000, 14, and an incredible 25 from the stock market every single week. Is this an ad?
That's an ad.
It looks like an ad.
I was like, that sounds too good to be true. Is this an ad? Shopman reading ads in the podcast
I was trying to figure out what you were going with that one.
I was like, is this a... Okay, we're going to close that tab. I'm reading the ads.
Shopman be shopping for ads.
I'm going to just start off with the market at an all-time high. Okay, in tech news, we got AMD reporting the earnings on Tuesday after Intel's Q3 disaster. What to watch?
This is basically when I tell you their guidance lies and what analysis think, what they're predicting. I'm pretty sure, like, yes, when the Intel earning happened and it dropped because they're one of the biggest income source wasn't doing like really well compared to what this expert was thinking. It brought basically whole chip companies down. But again, you know, AMD could do good, and then it's going to bring the whole chip market back up. But we just have to wait until the guidance from the CEO, the Susie lady, and see where she's going to take AMD. But I think AMD, they're going to beat the earnings. They're going to have a good guidance. That's just, I mean, my own personal opinion. But AMD, I mean, they're taking over Intel.
Right.
And Intel sold one of their business to SK Hynix to $10 billion for the, I believe it's SK Hynix.
Ooh.
So that SK Hynix could become number 2 chip company. So now they're right behind Samsung now.
Something to keep in mind. They drop at key levels. I'm looking at the Netflix chart, for example. It was in an area that was just bound to sell. Or even if you actually even take a look like with SPY, that happened this past week with that sell-off, had to do with like Pelosi when she, released some news about that stimulus talks weren't going well. And it happened at a key level. And I think that some of these institutions, they use it to their advantage. Obviously, if some bad news is about to drop, would they drop it in an area that's a support, or would they drop it in an area that's resistant?
I mean,
That makes a lot of sense.
Some of these earnings and news, I mean, definitely be wary and where, depending on what time frame you're trading, be wary about where the price action is at.
I completely understand that. And then I'll also piggyback and say that Netflix has been a whole roller coaster ever since. It hasn't really broke too much above 560. Its highest high is 575. Most people, trend followers, that is, will be holding on until it breaks this high. But it's pretty much at the bottom of the bottom. I wouldn't be surprised that during the earnings week that it would shoot up to 520. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, it's not a. I don't think it's a bad time to. Bad idea to buy 600 call right before earning and sell it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to buy calls on Netflix right now. It's looking pretty good. Coca Cola European goes global with 6.6 billion Australia dollar deal. Whatever I just said. Skim, what we looking at on this?
Coca Cola is buying off the bottling company.
Huh?
You know how Coca Cola is buying bottling company. You know how these big companies like Coca Cola, Pepsi, they have their sub companies doing their own bottlings.
Right. I didn't, but I know now.
Yeah, they're buying them right now.
Okay.
So in that case, they save money and they make money at the same time.
Isn't Coca-Cola having earnings this week as well?
Yes.
So more news on top of the earnings. We're going to take a look at Coke really quick just to
KO.
confirm what's going on. Ooh, they had a rough couple of days. Last 2 trading days in a red.
Look at the weekly though.
So could we see them going up?
Consolidating.
Yeah, consolidation. That's my favorite play. Okay, so I don't really pay a lot of attention to the MACD, but it could be misleading. It hasn't crossed yet into the put side to confirm that puts are happening, but it could ramp up on the green and get a lot more call volume for this week. You never know. You just got to pay attention to KO. I know we're going to stay as politically biased as possible. Who you think going to win? No, I'm just kidding. Whether Trump or Biden win in November, Beijing will be hoping to reset the U.S.-China relationship.
I mean, on this we know Trump focusing on China to win the re-election because that's the only thing he could think of. But we all know if the Trump wins, we know he's going to go to China and say, hey, man, I just did that for the election, let's get back together. And when the Biden wins, we know him like, hey, Trump did this to you, I'm different. Just trust me. We all know this because they're what? Number 2 biggest economy controller. Number 1, yes, of course, US, but guess what? China is coming up really strong. They could take over US as number 1 economy country. So what's good for the other countries when number 1 and number 2 are fighting for it?
Right.
So they have no choice but to, be on each other's side again after the election. I mean, I've been saying this many times. Trump is doing this just to win the re-election. I've been saying
doing what exactly?
Putting negative stuff about China, Kung flu, China virus.
Yeah.
Putting more tariffs on China. Come on. We all know after the election, we all know if the Trump wins, we all know he's going to go to China and say, hey, let's get it over with. I just did that to win the election and it's over. Let's get back together.
Politics 101 coming from Skim Master. Make some likes rain down for that.
So that's basically what he's saying.
Kabar, you got anything on this?
I'm just ready for next week. Let's see which way the market decides to go afterwards.
So excited! Amazon wins order to stall $3.4 billion Reliance future deal. What you got, Skim?
Well, this is one of the court orders that had in Europe. You know how like all these Europeans, like EU, they charging these big companies like fines and fees. This basically said Amazon won.
Right.
So I don't know if it's gonna how much it's gonna affect the share prices, but every time there's a good news about Amazon runs. So just have to watch it, and especially its earning. But I will stay away from Amazon just because of the earning.
Just because of the earnings? An arbitration court in Singapore restrained Future Retail Ltd. Limited and its founders from going ahead with the sale, according to people with knowledge of the matter who asked not to be identified as the proceedings were private. Sounds like a whole bunch of cover-up to me. I don't even think that, to be honest, Bloomberg, thank you for the news. I don't think this is going to affect Amazon and if the stock goes up or down. So we got Tesla claims that China caused the unnecessary recall. See, I was reading about this over the weekend when Tesla had a lot of stuff going on with China. They were saying that some of the vehicles weren't going right and such and such and such. Skim, what you got on this?
It's basically saying the recalls they have to do for the models that built in China, they have to do the recalls for the suspension. But the crazy thing is they only did the recall in USA. All the cars sold all over Europe and Asia, they haven't did a recall yet. And they were going out from the China.
Only in the USA. So they will be recalling 30,000 Model S and X vehicles in China due to suspension issues and was being forced by the Chinese government. Now the letter says that Tesla has no defection and no recall is needed. I wonder what that's about because you have all of these Tesla plants over the United States of America and abroad. Where did the problem start off at, and did that problem get into China's borders?
I mean, you got to think those batteries are super heavy. So I actually know I was talking to somebody the other day about doing change the tires on Teslas, right?
Yeah.
So that he was telling me how the wear on the tires, it doesn't wear evenly because of the weight of the of the battery. So I can see how it messes with the suspension.
Mm.
And if they're not making the parts right, then I mean even more so.
Exactly.
I am buying Tesla for sure.
I don't know, man. I'm buying Tesla even if the glass roof pop off of it.
You're not gonna buy Tesla. We're just gonna keep mentioning Tesla. We're gonna say Tesla 10,000 times just for Tesla to hear us and give us the one car to drive.
We need 3 cars. 4 cars, one for the guests.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I gotta see though. China has their own EV company now too, so I can see why they want to put some salt on Tesla.
That makes sense. Part 2 of where to put $1,000 right now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we got Dunkin' Brands explore sale or merger with Inspire Brands. Dunkin' Donuts, why you going away, baby?
America runs on Dunkin'. I guess they stopped running for America now.
What you got, Skim?
This is basically saying Dunkin' brand is looking for their company to be on sale or possible merger, but they really haven't said any brands yet, except just like as we could read here, like Arby's, Buffalo Wild Wings, or Jimmy John's. But it could be any other companies than those, you know.
Right. And then Dunkin' also has earnings, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! So all of these headlines plus earnings, I just feel like I might wait until after elections because I don't want to be too, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be too impatient and blow up my account.
Just in by the guest, AB, it says Fitbit, huge news. What you got, AB?
Yeah, well, you got Fitbit, who, well, for one, they actually just reached either just or over 500,000 subscribers. They're expecting to actually be acquired by Google by the end of the year. That's the talk. So looking to get acquired by Google. On top of that, I want to say, you know what, I just want to double check, but that they ran a trial and at least half they were able to detect COVID-like symptoms 1 to 2 days before even presented. Yeah, so I think the ticker name is FIT. It's definitely in an area where it actually gapped up on a daily. and it's been riding that gap. It looks like it has a lot of room to move. So with that type of news and just the way it's looking, I think that that's another good one.
Absolutely, man. I seen this in the news. I didn't even think about mentioning it today because it was one of those things that was in the back of my mind. Last week, the famed activity tracker maker and technology company Fitbit announced early results from its work regarding potentially using Fitbit products for detecting COVID-19. And that's huge. So you telling me I ain't even got to get the test because that shit with the nose and in my brain?
Man, we buying 2022 expiration
Hey,
call.
that gap up AB was talking about actually held it for about a whole month.
Yeah. It was actually I want to say not just that, but also it was upgraded by a couple banks. So I mean, it has a lot of good catalysts, a lot of good news around it, and again, this is something that definitely has a lot of room to move.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
even without earnings this week for Fit. Oh, wait, earnings on Fitbit as well. Like, we just got earnings everywhere. I think all of the companies that are about to release their earnings are trying to release the best news that they can possible to just showcase off what they've been doing and get that stock to rally up higher.
Now, do you think it's these companies? Do you think it's a little bit of manipulation too, trying to keep the market up?
I think it's Donald Trump. Fake news is a scam. Okay. Yep. U.S. shows support for airlines venture between Delta and WestJet. Skim, what you got?
Yes, this is, you know how like airlines, they're waiting for like another stimulus or help from the government.
I ain't getting on no plane.
And you know, Delta before told them, hey, we don't need it anymore. But now US is saying, hey, we have to save the airline companies.
Mm-hmm.
We have to open more flights. I mean, that's basically what he's saying.
I mean, that makes sense because we were talking about that last week. If you want to get more into that, you can go into the spotlight search of the last podcast. We actually want to turn it over just for a second to AB because he was mentioning something that I had no clue, and it's a lot of stuff that I have no clue about. But he was mentioning something about treasury bond something. If you want to take
yeah, absolutely. So something that this piece of information that's actually helped me, especially to gauge the market. You know, one of the safest investments you can make is invest in treasury bonds, right? There's treasury bonds, there's treasury notes. Notes is that for a longer term, bonds is for a shorter term. Now, there's a 10-year bond that people can invest in, and this is something that a lot of investors look at to gauge the market. So when you actually see a lot of people investing in a 10-year treasury bond, when you see a lot of people investing in these 10-year treasury bonds, and the demand continues to increase, that actually shows that people are a little bit fearful. And you know, just to back this up, you could actually, if you go on a daily chart, go to February 24th of this year. That's when I know the Dow Jones plummeted, and you just see the demand for those 10-year treasury bonds just increase. And then if you go just a little bit further, if you go in March, you see that the demand increases. So since then, these treasury bonds remained increased.
Right.
And again, when the demand is high for these bonds, that you know, that shows more, you know, that people are afraid to invest. And looking at the futures, you know, even for today, if you look at the 10-year treasury bond futures today, it actually increased, it broke range, and it's shooting up. So definitely you know, gauge this week, be cautious, because people are, you know, investors are even a little bit more afraid than they were last week. So
absolutely. And how do I look at that? Because I know that's not in Webull, and I think you guys said that it was in Thinkorswim and TD Ameritrade.
So Webull doesn't support futures yet, at least. They don't support futures just yet, but it sounds like they're working on that. So if you actually go on Thinkorswim, the ticker for the 10-year bond, ZN, and that's how you're able to find it. Something actually really cool that you can actually go on Treasury. Let me see. You can go on treasurydirect.gov, and you can actually look at what these bonds yield. you know,
Oh,
how
I
much
can't
they're so how much they're yielding. So I think you know what? Let me see. I'm just double checking. If you just go on Google and you type in Treasury Gov yield rates, it should come up, and you're able to look at how much they're yielding daily. So again, when this 10-year Treasury bonds, when they increase, you can expect that the return rate, the yield rate, is going to be lower.
Mm.
It's going to be lower. Now, once these 10-year Treasury bonds decrease, that's good. That's bullish. You know, that's what you want. That shows that investors are not as afraid as they were when it was elevated. And what you can actually see is you can see the rates, the yield return actually increase. So yeah, you can actually just Google Treasury, you know, Gov Treasury Gov daily yield rates, and you can actually see it.
Got you. Appreciate the sauce for that. Let them lights rain down. Okay, guys, that just about wraps it up. Thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you. See you in the arena on Monday.
Absolutely.